A year ago, I went to Rome. I went to Israel too. Went to Israel. Yeah. This summer. Are you trying to take pictures? Oh, you're trying to take pictures. I just got home from just a month, a little over a month ago. I back in Egypt and Israel. 172. It was a long story. Down the pyramid. They're not going to get it. They don't have it. I got
keep this for in posterity?
No, you'll see it down the Bob's.
Everybody please find a seat so we can see how many more chairs we're going to need. About half an hour late. We're paying the MC for the hour. There's still some more chairs in the back over there.
I think we're about all here. If we can all get in our seats now. Anybody that comes in after this, we're going to mark them tardy, and they'll have to go to the principal's office. It's indeed a privilege on behalf of the Hall Reunion Committee for me to welcome you here this afternoon. We're really pleased, the few of us that did the work to get this together. It's to have this many turn out. You know, when we were doing this, we said we didn't ask for a reply. Well, we don't know how many to set up for. Maybe we won't even, we'll set up these many tables and, well, there might be a chance we might fill them up. But boy, to see these all filled up, it really makes it all worthwhile to think that you people think enough of the old Hull School to come back and have a reunion like this. So another thing I want to mention is the Methodist Church was good enough to give us this at not charge us anything for the use of their hall. So we've asked the minister of the Hull Methodist Church to give the invocation this morning. So she said that since we're all elderly, and I include myself in there, you don't need to stand, but this time I'm going to ask Pastor Dorothy Browning to come up and give the invocation. Pastor Dorothy, thank you again for this use of this hall.
Bob, I think you may have just got me in trouble. I don't remember saying that I thought they were all elderly. But you may remain seated. Let us pray. Our gracious God, we give you thanks for this opportunity for everyone to gather together, to share memories, and to renew friendships and fellowships with each other. Some have traveled many miles to be here today, and we pray that your blessings will be with each one as they return to their homes, and that they may spend this time together remembering great times together and looking forward to many more opportunities to get together such as this. We ask for your blessings on each person here. This we pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Dorothy. You know, it just wouldn't be a Hull reunion unless we had our old MC back. So every time we have one of these, I'll say, before we agree to do this, let me check Welt Luke and see if he's still living out on the West Coast and able to come back and do his excellent job of MCing for this. Welton has MC'd practically every one except the first one, and then after him, I refuse to follow the job that he does. So at this time, let's welcome our MC back, Welton Luton.
You're too good. I am ecstatic about the gathering here today. All of you beautiful people. And the thing that enters my mind more than anything else is the tragedy that befell this town just a few short years ago. But out of tragedy comes growth and success. And the spirit of this town couldn't die. Nobody could kill it. Look what they've done to restore this town. I'm the only one that was afraid to stay. You know, I was sorry that I wasn't here when the flood hit. But in all honesty, I'm doggone glad I wasn't. You know, it's nice to be in a room full of people my own age. I gave an address to the Memorial Day crowd at Palm Springs last May. And I finished my address. Of course, I had a nice prepared speech. And I finished it, and I walked down off the stage. They had the closing prayer. I was walking through the crowd and a gentleman tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and he said, I was really impressed. And I looked at him and it was President Gerald Ford. It made me feel good. I don't care if he is a Republican. You know, the age of some of us brought to mind a poem that I had a while back. I broke it out and thought I'll read it to you today. The title of this little poem is A Little Mixed Up. It says, just a line to say I'm living, that I'm not among the dead. Though I'm getting more forgetful and kind of mixed up in the head. I've gotten used to my arthritis and my dentures, I'm resigned. I can manage my bifocals, but oh God, I miss my mind. For some time, I can't remember when I stand at the foot of the stairs, if I must go up or something, or if I just came down from there. And before the refrigerator so often, my poor mind is filled with doubt. Have I just put food away, or am I going to take some out? And there are times when it's dark, with my nightcap on my head. I don't know if I'm retiring or just getting out of bed. So if it's my turn to write you, there's no need you getting sober. I may think that I've written and just don't want to be a bore. So remember, I do love you, and I wish that you were near. And now it's nearly mail time, so I must say goodbye, dear. Postscript. Here I stand beside the mailbox. My face is so very red. Instead of mailing you my letter, I've opened it instead. Does that ring a bell at all? Tell you what happened to me when I flew into St. Louis the day before yesterday. Went over to the budget rent-a-car and rented an automobile. Went over and got my luggage, got in the car, drove up to my sister's house here in Hull.
Here's an extra chair, Patsy.
Started to get ready for bed Thursday night, and I had the wrong suitcase. I had picked up somebody else's luggage and it looked exactly like mine. Needless to say, I had to wear the same clothes for 2 days in a row. I wasn't too comfortable. So Nadine and I went down Friday. Walked in, told this guy, I said, I think I picked up the wrong suitcase the other day and I'd like to see if mine is here. He said, what's your name? I gave it to him and he said, well, yes, it's here, but he said, you know, you really should check the numbers on your tag before you take luggage. I told him, I said, sorry, all my deepest apologies, because I said, I really don't need a lecture. I just need my bag so I can go home and change clothes. I feel grummy. Anyway, I finally got the right one. Just another little example of senility. You know, it's nice to sit around and reminisce, looking at faces that we haven't seen for many, many years. And you know, seems like such a short time ago, walking your favorite girl home, growing up together, just being good friends. You know, we were all so very fortunate to grow up in this little town. It just never ceases to amaze me. We were taught the values and respect that influenced our lives and made us better people. We were brought up to respect and love our God, our families, and our country. Most of us here today have known unbounding love. Many of us have also known war, both on the home front and on the front line. We've all lost good friends over the passing years, both in conflict and in the passing of time. I'd like to take just a moment, if I may, and have everyone just a moment of silence for all of our former classmates that can't be with us today. Would you please bow your head? Thank you very much. I want to say what a privilege it was when Bob Colgrove called me, my lifelong friend, which he does every time he's getting in trouble. And knowing Bob Colgrove all these years, it's not too easy. No, he called me and asked me if I could come back and give him a hand with this beautiful affair today, and I said, you bet, I'll be there, old friend. And I'm here. Don't ask me why, but I'm here. I look around the room and I see some of the dedicated teachers that we had. They helped so much in molding our lives. Sam Gamble here.
No.
Sam didn't make it. Well, I would hope he would. He broke more paddles on my behind than anybody I ever knew. But I learned the hard way. And if he was here, I'd thank him. You know, George Johnson was probably the most used teacher in the whole high school. We used to be able to con George into helping us with a hard question on a test. And he'd make it seem like you were doing it yourself, but he was really doing it for you. Thank you, George. You know, one of the classes that I will always remember in school, we had a history teacher. I don't think we ever used the history book, but every day in our class, this gentleman made stories that were right along with what was in the book. And the way he told them, the way he told those stories, it stuck in our minds. And every one of us learned. That was Coach Van Orman. Would all of the teachers that are here please stand up? How about a big round of applause for these kids? You see what you people caused? You caused us to grow up being halfway decent, loving our neighbor, and loving each other enough to get together once in a while. I hope we don't wait too long. We expected to have this a few years ago, and the flood kind of put a crimp in it. At this time, I'd like to make a personal thanks to all of the committees that put this together. Nadine Carlin, Elizabeth Slater, Ruby Lee Howard, Fannie Lou Gray, Helen Dunker, Charlotte Dunker, Lois Mosley, Louise Martis, John McNett, Al Haskins, Edgar Johnson, Chip Breen, and Alan Kime and Bob Colgrove were co-chairmen. I think they've done a great job. Let's give them a hand up. If you recall, at the last reunion, we had a walk down memory lane. And we named a whole bunch of things that we remembered from when we were children. Things like the old rails around the park. When horse rails, weren't they built? When they used to tie up the horse and buggies. Wagons, remembered wagons on top of the Kuhlman building on a thrashing machine with it sticking in the city hall. Upset outhouses. Town jail, after you yelled for the grand old gentleman. Sliding down the elevator ramp and a scoop shovel. Ice skating in Englewood Pond with a big bonfire. Well, I can't even read my own writing. Oh yeah, the grand old lady that taught most of us here, Katie Timothy. some of the places we used to go when we were young. The casino in Quincy, Pat's Dance in Hanover, Siegel's. That brings to mind Ruby, my brother and Helen doing jitterbuggy. They used to tear the place up. Yeah, and Billy Snyder singing and dancing. She was just very, very good. Okay, yeah, sliding into what you thought was first base when you were playing ball over in the field over by Myers. The old water tower, Skinny Martin and Seth Thomas old race cars, Sneakin' Snyder and Grapevine Bud Churchill on a 1936 version of a Laker fast break. Playing basketball in the New Canton gym and shooting between the rafters. I better not use that one. When cheerleaders wore clothes. Wearing cardboard in your shoes. Knickers to your knees. Oh, I already touched that one. That was another one on George Johnson. Going to music contests and coming home a winner. The old bandstand in the park. The metal benches. And some of our older citizens sit around whittling, chewing tobacco, spitting on the ground. Jim Buck, John Slater's, Arch Kender's, George Reel and Dutch Cole Grove's restaurants and taverns and pool halls. Let's see what I got here. Walking your favorite girl home from school. Roller skating in the old livery stable. Hansmeyer's plane landing in the field, having to grab the wings so I could turn around because it had no brakes on. How many of you remember the WPA? We puttered around. Let's see, the old hotel, it's gone now. There's quite a few people here that I'm sure remember when we had two railroads coming in the hall. We had the big wreck down there in 1916, I think it was. That was a couple of days before I was born.
2318 was the number the engine on the wheelbase.
What? Oh, let's see here. The old Hull Enterprise, blacksmith shop, school lunches at Dutch's for a quarter, iron bars on the window at Abe Maple's store. Remember we used to take a run and grab those bars, swing around on the steel post. And one day, I don't know whether it was Skinny Martin or who it was, wired up a Model T Ford coil to that one pipe right in the middle. I come sailing down through it, and I jumped up in the air and spun around that post, and as soon as my feet hit the ground, I got it. That old coil just, I never jumped and grabbed that pipe again. The musical talents of Otelia Walsh, Vivian Smith, Cleston Brinkman, the old Hull Male Quartet, and I'd blow a little smoke at this time. The only two state and national solo champions ever from Hull, Charles Pryor in 1941 and Wilton Luton in 1942. Are there any other memories from the floor that somebody would like to mention? Oh, come on.
The drugstore.
Yeah, Charlie Altoff's drugstore.
Yeah.
Remember that beautiful beard he had? We used to try to get him to bleach it white at Christmas time, and he never would.
Well, you remember the barrel of kisses Charlie had? Everybody helped themselves and they went around through there.
Oh, yeah.
One day a salesman come in, or a stranger come in, and he asked for a sack full of kisses. Charlie reached clear down there to fill the sack up, and he turned around and said, "You know, sir, that's the first sale I've made out of this barrel."
Yeah, we used to gather in there by that old stove back in the back. And on the way out, we'd reach in that barrel. Oh, yeah, yeah. The old telephone operators up above the old drugstore. Oh, yeah.
Wilton and I still have the counters out of the old drugstore.
You do?
Yeah, the old Herb, wasn't the old cigar?
Oh, but it belongs in the museum.
They can have if they want to go to Pittsfield and get them.
Okay, now, what I want to do, at the last reunion and the one before, we had a lot of complaints that the program was too long and people didn't get a chance to visit and spend time with each other. So we're going to change that a little bit, and I've also noticed many of us walking around, looking at people, taking a second look and saying, don't I know you? What'd you say your name was? Well, I'm glad we got the name tag. But I would like to have everyone here, as we go around the table, their name, the year they graduated, and any other little thing, as long as it doesn't take over a few seconds, because, you know, it's going to take a little while. So if we could just start right over here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I didn't graduate.
Did you go to school at all?
I'm setting in for my sister.
Okay. Introduce yourself and pass it right on down through there.
Okay, I'm Tom Lippincott, and I guess you might say I'm here to see a lot of old friends that I've always known, but I'm rather setting in for my sister Marge, who was unable to get here.
I'm Laura Baskins, Holy graduate 1944.
Marjorie Moses Robinson. My dad was born in the winter. I'm Charlotte Mosley Dunker, and I graduated in 1941.
Grover Dunker in 1940.
Alfred Hammond in 1942.
Leonard Arnson, 1941.
I'm Betty Huntley, and I'm from Bering, Illinois. Betty Huntley. Hunt.
You know, I'd like to hear some of these stories as they go around, like this guy right here. I mean, you don't even know who I am, but Wilford, tell us some stories about Hull.
Oh, I only got a few seconds. There's a lot of fond memories, and as you say, you got to get down and just to buy folks to see who they are. I see Don Eddiefield sitting over there, didn't recognize her, Charlotte, and her sister up there, wondered what happened to them and all that. I'm Wilford Haskins. I lived here for a long time, seen the old house, everything up here. And I'm retired, Southwestern Bell, live in Old Missouri. My wife and I came up here a couple of days ago. As you say, it's really disheartening to see all the tragedy that went on with the flood. I came up here about 3 years ago and I looked at that and I couldn't believe what all went on. But I must say that I do admire each and every one of you people that went through that tragic time. I said, well, what did they do? How did they get the closing out? The old house I lived in over on West Street over there, I seen a fella and I was videoing some pictures there. I said, you care to take some pictures? He said, be of the house. I said, well, I lived in it. Years ago, we paid $8 a month for Danny Harding if we could find the $8. And he said the water was 6 foot something in the kitchen, you know, and we laughed there barely out. My brother and I used to sleep in the back end there, and the WPA or somebody would give us wool blankets. And how a kid doesn't get in, they want a drink of water to get in bed. Mom set the glass up there. We froze hollow in the morning. But thanks to the people of WPA days and whatnot, we survived. And so far, I haven't got in too much trouble. At least I didn't have any police following me up here. But it is a privilege and really a thrilling thing for my wife and I to drive up and see all you people. And see one fellow sitting over there, he only lives about 25, 30 miles from me, and I have to drive 300 and some odd miles to see him up here. Still working this over Joplin, and you get over there once in a while, but, you know, I'm hungry, and I got somebody else with me. So I hope we have one of these next year, and I'll get to see Bill. Thanks a lot.
Betty Smith Walker, I graduated in 45.
Don Van Orm, 1942.
Bob Caldwell, class of 41.
Jim Snyder, 36.
Billy Atkins Snyder, class of 41.
Will Atkins Pryor, 1941.
George Atkins, 1935.
Elizabeth Slater, Bells. No, it's Bells before Slater. 1933. Take it, we'll make that something else. Nell Fusselman Howell, graduated 1930. Minnie Fusselman Hunter, graduated in 1928.
Nadine Luton Carlin, I should have graduated in 1937, but I didn't. I got foolish and got married instead.
Ruby Lee McKay Howard, 1940.
Rachel Lee Denning, 1921.
Al Turing, 1931.
George Harbison, 1956.
Herschel Harrison, 1945.
I'm Eileen Kennedy Dunker. We graduated from Hannibal, because that's when the school burned, and we graduated in 49. And I just wanted to tell you, so many of you had Grandma Katie Kennedy for their teacher. I brought some pictures that she had. And I think you'll find that, Dawn, I know you're in there, and I recognized a lot of you, but I couldn't remember the last names. I'd say, well, that's, and I can't remember, but go put your names on. I give them to Dixie to put in the museum down here, and I'd like for you to get your names on.
I'm James Harbison. They burned that thing down before I could graduate.
Eddie Johnson, I'm a little younger than most of you. I graduated in 1953 from West Pike after Consolidated. The one thing I'm enjoying here today, I'm putting a lot of faces to all the stories I've heard through the years.
Pat Chandler, and we were the last class to graduate from the grade school.
Nelson Colgrove, I was in the last class of the grade school.
John Dunker, I went here 1 year, freshman, and then graduated Hannibal in 48.
Louise Martis, 38.
Chopping? 38.
Bill Warner, 1934.
Letha Julie Brown, 1917.
Dwayne Denning, 1943. Who remembers Herschel Throne? Russell Edenfield, 39.
Marvin Gudgel, 1940.
Jerry Bradshaw, I wanted to see the schoolhouse burn so bad. Well, I was going to school, and just as soon as I quit, then it did.
Fred Walsh, 28.
Tony Pottis, 29. Leonard Garner, 39. Roberta Garner, 38.
Noah Garner, 53.
Dale Meyer, I went 2 years, and then it burnt and went to Hannibal.
Elmo Meyer, 1952.
Leon Cunningham, 1943.
Sheldon Shepherd, 1938.
Rose Bryant, Fleck, and graduated in 31.
Les Plank, 36.
Jean Elder Eddingfield.
John Enfield, 41.
Well, I'm Dorothy Bells Thompson, and I didn't graduate. I went, our family moved to Bluffs in 1937. And one of my most outstanding memories is when Bob Colgrove stuck his tongue to that frozen grass border.
Phyllis Eddingfield Taylor, and I graduated in 1945.
Bill Eddingfield, and I graduated in 1926. And we won the first tournament out here in the gym, I think, 23. That was the West Pike tournament. Then they won the first county tournament in 1926 with Creekdale. And George Johnson here, he graduated the same class with me. Sure glad to be here today.
Russell Riddle, 36. I'm George Johnson, and I don't know whether any of you remember, but we had one student who was in high school for 8 years. And I hold the record. I went 4 years, graduated in 26. Then I rested for 4 years and came back and graduated again in 42.
I'm Al McKay, and I graduated in Hannibal in 47.
I'm Garnet Ducker Peters, and I graduated from Hannibal High in 1946. And what I remember from our days in Hall High School was a troop train going through. And we'd all get to go out and wave at the boys.
Bill Peters, 1944.
Edward Caldwell, 1933, and I remember Herschel Sloan chasing Crutton Freeman up the street.
I'm Al Haskins, 1944. A couple of things, if you don't mind, it's just a couple of seconds. Bob had to help me out on this. But as boys, we was there on the corner on the street there, and there's two things we usually do, and that is play marbles, Mr. Slater, and also when the whistle blew from the meat market, us boys would all line up, and I might have been some of these girls too. We'd hold our hands out there at that back door window in that alley, and he'd give us a handful of hot crackers. I mean, that was living. Eat them hot crackers. And the other thing that I'll never forget as a kid, when you win something, well, you don't ever forget. We had a marble championship, and Mr. Slater, you guys remember, he was a kid. And he come over there and he instigated this marble championship, and it started to rain. They had this big ring there in the park. So we finished it up over in the city hall, and I won that championship. You know what the prize was? A sack of glassies, marbles. 100 of them. Okay.
Bill Darty.
Betty Gudgel, 43. Andrew Colgrove Gray, 43.
Phyllis Wilson Wagner, 42. And why didn't you tell them about Abe Monroe and one of our classmates, Wilton?
He's not here to defend himself.
Janina Wilson Smith, and I graduated in 1943. And Wilton, I'm glad all the stories about the cheerleaders were good because there's 4 of us right here.
Leon Kennedy, 1952.
Shirley Cronky DeSource. I graduated from West Pike High School in '56. I attended 7th grade at the school, and there were 4 grades in the gymnasium split by the curtain. But the thing I remember the most was when we walked over to get dinner at one of the restaurants was putting pennies on the railroad tracks and then holding that penny afterwards as a good luck charm because it was all smashed to smithereens.
Barb Colgrove Ficken, class of 45, the last one.
I'm Dixie Cronky Ward, and I'd like to take a minute to say I'm really pleased to see you because almost daily I write your name or look at your picture in the museum, and I've never known who you were, so that's one reason I'm here today. Also to extend an invitation to you to visit the museum. It's open, and it will be open after the festivities now. I too went to that gymnasium down there with the curtain down the middle and one teacher screaming on one side and one on the other and 4 classes. But the thrill was when we dismissed for Christmas and picked up all of our boats and walked up the highway and got to go to the new grade school. And then the next year got to go to the new high school. So I have some wonderful memories involved, and I thank you people for all of those that you've given me. If you see any pictures down there with incorrect names, please tell me. I try to correct them. I don't know all of the people, but I'm becoming acquainted with you.
Laurel, Chip Green. Other than the disco on Saturday night. 3rd Street is on the edge of town. Every sport is played in the dirt. Some of you remember that. The editor and publisher of the newspaper carries a camera at all times. You don't use your turn signal because everybody knows where you're going. You know you're in a small town when you're born on June the 13th, and your family receives a gift from the local merchant because you're the first baby a long ways, and then oh yeah, they taught me in school I was supposed to pull this ripcord. So I pulled it, nothing happened. So I fell for a long ways farther. Oh yes, they taught me I got an emergency cord here I pull in case something doesn't work. So I pulled that. Nothing happened. He fell, he's almost to the ground. He says, I bet that damn bus doesn't show up now.